Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Miami-born, Chicago-based saxophonist Carlos Vega. He's got a new album out that is worth a good listen, 2021's Art of the Messenger. He tapped into the energy of the hard bop movement of the late 50s with his quintet session, channeling the vision of Art Blakey's iconic jazz messengers. He pursued his passion of studying jazz in college during the day, and he was also immersed in playing Latin and Salsa 6 nights a week with some of Miami's most innovative and authentic Latin bands. That led to gigs with the likes of Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine, Arturo Sandoval, Ira Sullivan, Tito Puente, and so many others. His story is a great one. Please enjoy.
So glad you're interested.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So Art of the Messenger comes out during a pandemic. Kind of give me your thoughts on the timing of this and how it feels to, like, actually get something out in front of fans.
Right. Well, you know, it was actually recorded December 2017. It finally got out, you know. And it feels great, actually, because it's getting pretty good reviews. And, you know, I'm doing this great podcast, so... And I'm very happy with the material. You know, the players are amazing on there. So overall, I think it's been an extremely positive experience.
Maybe it's serendipity that things are happening right now because the world's starting to open up. Are you getting any live pings or gigs that are coming up?
I did, actually. I just played at the Jazz Showcase with Victor Garcia. He's the trumpet player on the CD, and he's also on my 2 other CDs. And we did a little thing there, and, man, the energy was unbelievable, actually, because I hadn't done a gig in a while, and I think, actually, the audience was more starving for the gig than we were as musicians, because we're all kind of a little rusty, you know, and they were just, like, gung-ho and hooting and hollering, and it was amazing, actually. And I'm glad for the Jazz Showcase that it's opening up again, and it would be terrible if a place like that shut down because of lack of business. But, you know, Wayne, you know, Joe Siegel's son, Wayne, he took it over. Wayne passed away last year, and he's iconic. You know, he hosted everybody from, you know, the who's who of jazz, and you see the walls there that have all the posters, and it's a hallowed ground for jazz. So I feel great that one of my first gigs is actually there at the Jazz Showcase.
So are you originally from Chicago?
No, I'm actually from Miami.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
Talk to me about your childhood and how kind of, you know, the road led to Chicago and just kind of your roots of getting into music.
Right. So actually, you know, I didn't start playing an instrument until I was in junior high. But, you know, actually in elementary school, I had this very cool teacher. I can't remember his name right now, actually, but he was an extremely musical person. And he kind of lit the fire for me because I saw he was having real fun with it, and I kind of related to what he was doing. He was just playing the bells up there, you know, for the elementary class. But he did it in such a hip musical way that I was like, oh, I want to play an instrument, you know. And then in junior high, I started off playing cello for a year. And then I transferred to another school, and they didn't have a cello, so I saw somebody play a saxophone one time, and I was like, that sounds kind of cool. Let me try that. And that was it. I stuck with the saxophone. And, you know, when I got into high school, I got private lessons, and, you know, that helped propel me along. And then luckily, when I got to college, you know, I had a great mentor, a guy by the name of John Giorgini. He discovered me in high school, and he gave me a full scholarship to actually Miami-Dade Community College. It was a community college. And I took it, and it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I got to do some amazing stuff there. And he had formulated a band of, you know, it was a community college, so you can kind of admit anybody. He put together kind of a semi-professional, it was a professional band, really. And it was the community college band, but it was actually a professional band. So I got to play with this extremely high-caliber musicians that really set the bar for what I wanted to do. You know, I was like, wow, these guys are great, and I love this, and, you know, so I kept going from there. And then I started gigging around Miami. You know, I did a ton of salsa gigs. I transferred over to the university there, University of Miami, and after I finished my community college thing, and then I was actually working 6 nights a week. Now, I caught the tail end of when there was a lot of gigs, and it was kind of a perpetual thing. It was in the late 80s, 88, 89, and I was working 10 to 3 in the morning, 6 nights a week, and then waking up with 4 hours sleep to go to class. It was a little rough physically, but yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I was getting the street, and I was getting the university all in one, and trying to keep it all straight. So that, that kind of set the way I kind of do things. I got some street cred, and I also got some, university training. So I compose that way. I always think of the street because, these salsa clubs, it was all dancers, so I always think of, do my tunes have that thing, that feel like somebody could actually dance to it if they wanted to. So that's part of how I think of the music.
Beautiful. Well, when you talk about influences, obviously you were kind of channeling Art Blakey on this album. Talk to me a little bit about influences and how art has influenced you.
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody, people that I've played with, in close contact with every night. I played with some amazing musicians. They obviously influenced me, that community college band I was talking about, Miami-Dade. Those guys, that really set the bar for me, actually. After I took lessons, the next step was actually playing with musicians. And I was really lucky that at a very, very early age, 18, 19, I was playing with these monster musicians, I mean, the best of the best. And that really helped me, get a standard for what it is to play. All right, and I'm still always, every day I think about, am I meeting that standard that those guys were playing at? So it really influenced me. And then, I went on the road for a while after I got out of college, and I traveled to Europe. I was traveling to Europe a lot for around 10 years, from 90 to 2000. And great musicians over there, and, just getting a lot of cultural things going on, and, seeing their appreciation for the music, and then me appreciating what they have over there, and all that, just mixes together. And then I have acquired a ton of materials over the years, recordings. First I got albums, LPs. That was I got probably 1,000 albums, which I haven't touched in many years, but they're there. They're just sitting there. And then I got cassette tapes and CDs, and now it's all been replaced by MP3s and streaming. But I have all that stuff in physical form, and books, tons of books and whatnot, and all the great teachers, all that just combined, And I use it. I try to keep in touch with all that at some point.
So how'd you end up in Chicago?
So in 2005. I moved up to Urbana, Illinois, which that's exactly where I'm at right now, actually, hanging out for the summer. I came up to do my doctorate, actually. I got my master's in 2000 when I got off the road. I went to Florida International University and studied there and got my master's in jazz studies. And then I started teaching again, actually, at Miami-Dade College, the place where I first went to college. And I taught there for 4 years. And then an opportunity for a teaching assistantship came up and full scholarship and all that. And I was like, well, you know what? Let me go for it. And I went for it. And actually, it's a great friend of mine, Chip McNeil. He's the head of the Jazz Studies Department at University of Illinois. And we connected, and, I've known him for many, many years, for decades, and we just fell back into it. We were like good buddies, and he set me up and I did it, and then after that I started teaching and I started getting positions, a little higher up in the food chain in the college, assistant professor positions. And then eventually I've been promoted to associate professor. So, and I teach right now, I'm teaching at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, Florida A&M University, and I've been there for 10 years, pretty much this year. It's been 10 years, yeah. So I'm associate professor, tenured, and, you know, doing the teaching track and trying to put out CDs that sound good.
Yeah, I dig it. So you've been around some heavy cats over your years, Arturo Sandoval, Tito Puente, Doc Severson.
Yeah.
What have you learned from them that has helped you as a teacher, that has given you some seeds that you can in turn give to others that are younger?
Those guys, you know, they fall in line with the lesser known guys that I used to know back in my first great band, you know, at Miami-Dade College. Those guys were extreme professionals, and they took the music super serious, but they also had fun with it. And, you know, when I met Arturo and I got to hang out with him and play with him a little bit, he was the same way, you know. He just kind of like had fun with the music, but he was very serious about it. You know, and Tito Puente, I got to play with him one night. You know, I didn't tour with him or anything, but I played with him one night, and it was the greatest experience, one of the greatest experiences, because he really stole the show. I mean, I saw the star power really shine. I was like, wow, this guy, you know, not only is a great musician, but he's a star. You know, he's the textbook definition of a superstar. And then, of course, Doc Severson, he is a superstar. You know, everywhere he went. I mean, and I actually toured with him for 4 years. You know, I was in the bus with him, and, you know, with the band, and we were going from one state to the next, you know, and from California to Nevada through Utah all the way to Montana, and, you know, you name it. And we did the East Coast, you know, a bunch of tours in the East Coast. That was the greatest. Everybody's, you know, that I've connected with in that band, you know, we have these little, you know, I wish Doc would get the band together again. You know, we have these moments, you know, of sentimentality with the band, and he's amazing. You know, the guy he was 89, 88, 89, 90 years old, and playing louder than everybody else in the band. You know, he just had this incredible energy. You know, sharp as a tack, incredibly funny. You know, like genuinely funny. He got great comedic timing and all that, and he's a great musician. So I'm in awe of, and I'm very appreciative that I got to, you know, partake in that personally, you know, and playing in his band and seeing the original charts from the Tonight Show and all that, just like right there. So, guys writing on it, you know, like Tommy Newsom's writing on the chart. I was like, oh man, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, without a doubt. So today you get to wake up, you get to create. You're a professional musician. What's the best thing about being a professional musician?
Oh, that's it. Just creating, you know, getting a spark, you know, getting some sort of a little thing. Okay, oh, wow, this sounds kind of cool. Let me see if I can turn that into a tune, or, you know, it happens in spurts for me. You know, it doesn't happen. I don't wake up every day and, you know, write a tune. I can't function that way. I just, you know, usually if I'm thinking, okay, I got to make a CD, you know, and then I kind of get myself all geared up. And then I start compiling ideas, and then it starts snowballing. And all of a sudden I start getting ideas, and I get excited about it. And, you know, then I get enough ideas, I turn them into tunes. And so my 3 CDs that I have were kind of like that. I composed most of the tunes within a 3-month or 2-month period before the actual recording session. So the pressure of the deadline of getting to the recording session and having some tunes, you know, that kind of helps me spark, you know, get a creative spark. And you know, other musicians are like that too. You know, Duke Ellington was famous for that. He was, his thing was just give me a deadline and I'll bring something. You know, so yeah, I kind of took that philosophy of, you know, just give me a deadline and I'll bring something.
If you have a dream tonight, you run into your younger self around the time that you were going to start becoming a professional, and based on the wisdom you've gotten over all of the years, you could give your younger self advice. What would that advice be?
Oh man, that's a. Is it you want the good or the bad or the ugly?
you tell me.
I don't know. Whatever. I mean, okay. So all right. So it's a process, right? You know, I say, you know, if you end up in the right spot, you probably did it correctly, right? Even though it was a little bumpy along the way, right? So I say just keep the faith. You know, I don't know. That's been my only saving factor. You know, because there's ups and downs. You know, this business is rough, monetarily it's rough, and lifestyle wise it's rough. A lot of things happen. Ups and downs. And you gotta keep your wits about you. You gotta always keep pay attention. So if I had to do it all over again, I mean, it probably would fall. The chips probably fall the same way, I guess. But a few opportunities that I kind of slipped that I wish I would have capitalized on at the time. But then that falls, but then something else comes up, and that kind of worked out. So it's like you just can't tell. You can't tell if what happened on purpose, or if it was meant to be that way. But I'm at a good place now, so I feel like I don't know. It's all good,
I dig it. So everyone has an idea, perception of who they think you are, your family, your friends, fans, students, but you're the one living your life. Who do you think you are?
I don't know. I just try to be a good guy that's creative, and I try to support my students. Definitely, I make sure that they get if they're slumping a little bit, that I give them a little boost, positive wise, get them going again. Give them a little space to figure out what they want. If they're doing very well, I make sure that they know about it. Same thing with my friends, and my family. If they're, on the low side, I try to boost them up, a little bit, and try to help them out. I don't want to get carried away with it, but I try to, be a positive force. And then if they're doing well, I'd like to share, and go, okay, everybody's doing great. That feels great to me, So that's always been the way I do it. I don't like to get into negative things too much. Everybody gets negative at some point, but I try to keep it positive.
Right
and
on.
If it's positive, it feels good to me. It feels relaxing, which is where I'd like to be. And actually, if I'm feeling relaxed, that's when the creative juices start flowing. And I get ideas and things. The synergy happens, and the musical ideas start to pop up. So all the CDs I did, they happened under positive experiences, where I was feeling good. So that helped. With that whole process.
Beautiful. Carlos, thank you for taking a minute out to be on Jazz today, man. Good luck with the album and return to the stage.
Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate this. I hope people check it out. Check out the new album. I'm very proud of it. The players on there are amazing. Victor, Garcia, one of the greatest trumpet players on the planet. Stu Minzman, also amazing piano player. He played with everybody. Josh Ramos. And Xavier Breaker on drums, Josh Ramos on bass, and the whole process is beautiful. I want to continue with that, and expand with those guys. Those guys are amazing. So I'm very proud of them. And they take my tunes and they just make it so much better. So thank you for the interview, and checking out your show.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview. Insight into the finest cats in Chicago, Miami, Kansas City, and spots all over the world. Yes, thanks to Carlos for his time and music and story. Even more interviews, go to KCity. Visit neonjazz.youtube.com and grab Neon Jazz all the time. Go to neonjazz.com. Until next time, enjoy jazz
Neon Jazz.